All right. So the last thing we need to talk about, and we've actually talked about this on Tuesday when we did the cards where we talked about replacement versus non-replacement. Okay. So if I was replacing my cards, what did that mean? You were putting them back, which means my total doesn't change, right? If you're replacing things, it's going back in. So if you started with 52, you continue with 52. That's called an independent event. Okay? Replacing something or tossing a coin. Think about it. If you toss a coin, you don't take an option away. That's an independent event. Rolling a die is an independent event. Okay? Again, replacement is an independent event. So that just means your bottom number is not going to change. You're not taking anything away. When I'm not replacing, that is now called a dependent event. Okay? You are changing your total number of options when you take stuff away. So a dependent event would look like this. I originally start with 52 cards. Okay? When I take one away, my total now goes down to 51. My top number also changes if I'm pulling the same thing. So when I first started to pull, I had 4 aces. Well, I'm picking an ace. So now the second time I go to pull, I have 3. When it's independent, I'm putting it back. So that keeps my options at 4 and it keeps my total at 52. So you've got to be very cautious whether they tell you that you're replacing or whether you're not. Okay, so let's take a look. What is this? I want this to delete. Okay, let's take a look at this one. 7 red marbles, 5 green marbles, and 8 yellow marbles are in a bag. Each time a marble is chosen, it's placed back into the bag for the next draw. Would you consider this independent or dependent? Independent. All of these are independent. Why? It's placed back. It's going back in. It does not change my total. So, before I start probability, let's figure out how many total marbles do I have? If I have 7 red, 5 green, 8 yellow. 20 total. So we have 20 total. So, I want to pick a red, then a yellow. So I need to first get the probability of a red. Well, we know it's out of 20. What do I got? 7 out of 20. Then I want a yellow. Again, it stays out of 20 because this is independent. 8 out of 20. And you would multiply. It gives you 0.14. Okay, the probability of a yellow, then a red. So what's that going to do to what we did in A?
You're going to have one.
Who said it? You're just going to switch them. So instead of putting red first, yellow second, yellow comes first, and red comes second. Guess what? The probability doesn't change. Just the order that it happens in. That's all. It's not going to change your probability. Part C. Part C says red and yellow. So now I change the word then to and. What does that do?
I go from like over 20 to over 19.
No.
You add red and yellow together.
Yes and no. Okay, so when I'm talking and does not tell me the order that it needs to go in. So I could have, if I'm doing red and yellow, that means I can have red and yellow or yellow and red.
So, oh yeah, I forgot. You gotta do both.
So you've got to do both. Well, guess what? We already did red then yellow. So this is 0.14. What do I do when I have or?
Multiply. Oh,
Add. Well, guess what? We already did yellow, then red. Guess what? That's 0.14. So your final answer here is 0.28. So when they throw in that word and, they're not telling you what order it needs to come in, so you need to do both. And if you already have both done, just add up the answers that you have.
All right, let's do this one myself.
Go for it. Do D, E, and F by yourself, and then we'll put the answers up. You got this. You got it. Don't me. You got it.
Oh, wow.
I got lost on the camera.
Got lost. I'm videoing that I need to go back and fix the attendance and mark you present.
Okay. Wait, you said
Right. You want to put your name.
Hey. Hey.
0.
Hey. I'm gonna put you both out in the hall.
0.10.
Check your answer. Again, because these are independent, my numbers don't change. So because I'm picking a red and then putting it back and then picking another one, it's the same probability for D. E, I'm picking a red then a green. Well, your top numbers aren't going to change. Bottom still stays at 20 because these are independent. And then green then yellow, so 5 out of 20 and 8 out of 20. Questions or problems with this one? Okay, so of course, because we did independent, my next one is dependent. Yay! No replacement, which tells me we're dependent. Okay, so all I changed is the fact that we're not putting the marbles back. So I still have 20 marbles. I still have 7 red. I still have 5 green. I still have 8 yellow. Okay, so now I want red, then yellow. What does it look like if I'm picking a red marble? 7 out of 20. Okay, that red marble that I picked, I'm putting in my pocket and taking it home. So now I only have 19 marbles. But that doesn't affect the fact that I want a yellow one, so I have 8 out of 19. I didn't pick a yellow, so I still have all 8 yellow marbles. So 0.147. Okay. Yellow then red. What does that look like? 8 out of 20 and then 7 out of 19. Well, guess what? I'm still multiplying 8 times 7 and I'm still multiplying 20 times 19. So we're still at 0.147. Part C, I want red and yellow. So again, we've got the and. So I've got to take into consideration red and yellow or yellow and red. So I need to add 0.147 and 0.147, which gives you 0.295.
Honestly, I thought that it would be like, never mind.
What?
No. So instead of it being like 2019, that'd be 2019, 18, 17, for some reason.
No, because you're still looking at them as two separate things happening, not you're picking 4 different things in a row. If I was picking 4 different things in a row, then yes, Kimberly, that's what you would do. Okay, what does D look like if we're going red, then red as dependent?
It would be 7, 20, and then 6, 19.
7 out of 20, and then 6 out of 19. Okay, because I'm picking a red the first time, when I go to pick a red the second time, I have lost 1. So not only does my total go down, but my amount of red goes down as well. So we're at 0.111. Yes.
It's calculating working.
What?
It's calculating working.
Calculator's not working.
The enter button.
Can I see it? So you can plug in everything, you just can't hit enter?
Yep. Who knows?
Number 6, 23. You can wait till we're done with notes. I'm starting to slowly dwindle on calculators here. This is not good.
That one we couldn't get that turn on at all.
Okay, this one it says, I want to roll a die 4 times. What's the probability of getting exactly 3 ones to show up?
If it's worded like it's in a test,
I got you, because there's a formula for that. Okay, so think about it. I want a 1, a 1, a 1, and something that's not a 1. And not a 1. So if I want a 1 here, what's my probability?
1.
Out of 6. I want a 1 here.
Would it be 5 or 6? 6 or 5?
Where are you getting 6 or 5?
1 out of 6.
1 out of 6.
I don't know why I kept thinking about the independent.
I want another 1. 1 out of 6. A die can never be dependent. You can't take a side off of a die.
I mean,
They're always independent. They're always independent. Here, I want something that's not a 1.
So it would be
5 out of 6. Okay, so you would multiply this together and you would get 0.003858.
Yeah, talking about their own test.
Okay, this is not your answer though.
Oh.
Think about it. It tells you you want exactly 3 ones, but what doesn't it tell you?
Who's the other number?
Yeah, but we took that into consideration.
Okay, how many times you broke up? Oh, no. 4 times. Okay.
Okay, so this would be something like 1115. I could change it up and do 1151. I could change it up and do 1511. I could change it up and do 5111. So I've got 4 different ways where I can put my ones. So it tells me how many ones, but it does not tell me where they go. So because there's 4 different ways to arrange those ones,
it'd be
you would have to multiply this by 4. Because there's 4 different ways to put those ones into the amount. So your actual answer is 0.015432. Okay. There is another way to actually fix this and not have to worry about, do I have to make sure I multiply by 4? So what we use is what we call the binomial probability formula. Okay, this tells you you need to use combinations. So you would do, I've got 4 slots and I want 3 of them to be exact. Okay, inside your first set of parentheses, this is what you want to happen. So I want a 1. What's the probability of getting a 1? Who just whispered? 1 out of 6. My probability of getting a 1 is 1 out of 6. In the next set of parentheses, you want not a 1. That's a 5 out of 6. Well, I want 3 1s, and I want one of them not to be a 1. And that's what you would plug into your calculator, and this will give you this answer right here.
Well, that was complicated.
We're going to practice it. It's actually a lot easier than you think. We're going to practice it. We're going to practice it.
Is that a 3 and then a 5C1? I mean 5.
5 divided by 6. Raise to the first. Okay, so what I just used is this formula. What I just used is this formula. Okay, so of course we're going to practice it. So I want to roll a die 6 times. What is the probability of getting exactly 3 1s to show up? So how many total trials do I have?
6.
6. So we start off with 6C. How many of my trials need to be exact?
3.
3. So 6C3.
I get it. 1 divided by 6 3 times.
Okay, so in the first set of parentheses, I want the probability that the event will happen. In the other set of parentheses, I want the probability that it won't happen. So here I want a 1, here I want not a 1. What's the probability that I will get a 1?
1 out of 6.
1 out of 6.
3 times.
I want not a 1.
3.
5 out of 6. Okay, these 2 answers in here and here should always add together to give you 1. If they do not, you did something wrong. They should always add to be 1. Okay, then you have to raise them to something.
The first one to the third.
Okay, this, I want my 1 to show up 3 times. So I raise it to the third. Bless you.
Thank you.
I raise it to the third because I want it 3 times. Well, then I have 3 other slots to fill, so this is also raised to the third.
Let's do more.
Oh, of course we're going to do more. We shall always do more. Practice, practice, practice.
This packet has 3 more pages.
Oh, stop whining. Okay. I need to start with my something, see something. How many times am I doing my event? 4C, and I want exactly 3. So yes, 4C3. Okay, I need 2 sets of parentheses. I want my event. So in my event, I want a head. In my other event, then, I want not a head. What's my probability of flipping a coin and getting a head?
It's 1 out of
1 out of 2. 2 sides on a coin. Heads are 1 out of 2. Well, if heads are 1 out of 2, what's not a head? 1 out of 2. Again, this and this have to equal 1. I want my event to show up 3 times, which means I want it to not show up 1 time. You're done. You would plug that in and get an answer. Is it getting a little easier now? So because this is a take-home test, you're not going to have a calculator, so I will perfectly accept it like this. On your final exam, you're going to actually have to plug it in and get an answer. but I will perfectly accept it like this. Okay? I want exactly 4 reds out of 5 draws. So how do I write that as a combination?
Would it be 4 or 5? 4.
It'd be
5.
5C4.
5C4. I'm doing it 5 times. I want 4 of them. Okay, so now in my 2 sets of parentheses, I want a red, because that's what I'm looking for. And in the other one, then, I want not a red. So what is my probability of getting a red marble?
4 out of 18.
4 out of 18.
14.
So then this side has to be 14 out of 18.
And then it'd be 4.
Okay? I want 4 of them to be red. I want 1 of them to be not. Because I've got 5 total draws. So if 4 of them are red, I only have 1 draw left over. Okay. 3 greens after 10 draws. 10C3. Okay, in the first set of parentheses, I want a green. And in the second set, I want not a green. So what's the probability I'm going to get a green? 8 out of 18. So then not a green is 10 out of 18. And you said 3. And if 3 of them are exact, that means 7 of them are not. So 3 and 7.
Wait, how'd you get 18?
There's 18 total marbles. You've got 4 red, 8 green, and 6 yellow. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Are the rest of these examples? Oh, I should be good.
You can go if you want.
All right, I think I got it.
Okay. I'm going to do this last one with you, and then I want you to try 7, 8, and 9 on your own, and then I'll put it up. Okay. So this last one, 8 yellows out of 12 draws.
It would be 12C8.
So 12C8. I got a total of 12, and I want 8 of them. Remember, when I do combinations, my bigger number should always be on the left, and my smaller number should always be on the right. So in the first set of parentheses, I want a yellow, and in the second set, I want not a yellow.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
So it doesn't even matter how many they say there are in the problem?
What do you mean?
Because
There's
there's
6 yellows. We
yellows.
only got 6 yellows. Okay, there we go.
I need to pick 8 yellows. Remember, you're putting these back in.
Okay.
These are,
But there's only 6.
I know, but you can pick if you're putting it.
but if I'm putting it back in,
Okay, yeah.
I can still pick
All
it
right,
out.
I'll take it.
You're fine. 6 out of 18, which means this side has to be 12 out of 18. I want 8 of them to be yellow, so how many need to not be? 4. I will leave this up. Try 7, 8, and 9 on your own, and we'll go over it. And then all we have to talk about are odds, and we're finished.
Wait, let me see if I'm right. No.
For today?
I know there's a homework assignment in there. You're not going to do it.
Oh, thank you.
I wish you should do them first.
You should do like this.
She should do them for 7 first.
Yeah, because.
Yeah, I'm done there.
Because
I saw the, you know, the one
Created
thing,
the final project.
what, oh yeah, I seen it, I had made a, 72.
But didn't be, no one brought it up, so.
Oh, my grade brought it up. Well, I don't really know because I made a part and then we put it in the project, so I don't know how many parts I agreed with them. Because I was at a 63, now I'm at a 7. So I don't know how much my project really was. But I made up all my work. Well, I didn't do like yours.
Have you finished the 166?
Yeah, I finished it.
And the 170?
The ones you, no, I didn't do those. I left them how it is. I was trying to do this one quick, but I couldn't get, I didn't know what it was like. Just didn't do it. I probably should have gotten a note from, I was at college. That's all I know. I got lost. I was so embarrassed.
Class 2, so.
You ready? Tomorrow. Did you get on the boat? Did you take your bus number yet?
I'm not.
You don't know? I couldn't do it. No, because it was really standing a lot.
Who is this?
No, I'm scared like if I get caught. I'm scared.
I didn't do anything. Yo, this is stupid. What's today?
The 26th and 23rd.
Yo, my thing is due in 5 days. I wanna do this in more, bro. Honestly, it's gonna be over.
The reason why I want to get an A is
This final project's due,
and still pass.
AP's finals is due, and then I have
Last quarter, I
stuff
got
in Spanish.
72, but they rounded it to
Right
after all my papers.
I have to take the 500 question test. Oh my god.
I was trying to get an A last quarter, but I couldn't get it.
For real.
I feel like the graphs were easy.
The graphs. Last quarter,
Question
like, all the
If I
quiz
fail
grades, they were easy because
I
you
can
can
still
like
get my
attach
credit
your
for
video and just
by
answer.
Johnson. If I fail Johnson, I pass AP. So
I wish you could do that. It was more easier for me.
most of your students are
Not today. I mean, the history test is basically reading, so.
I won maybe 79, so you can do it. I can do it.
Are you just ripping on a line?
No, he's going.
Oh.
Right, right.
I like that. Oh, good.
Right.
I mean, I gotta really pay attention, because I remember last year, we didn't read.
Are we at least ready for this one to be put up?
I'm confused on 8.
You're
I'm
confused
confused
on.
on 9. I'm confused on the first one. So we'll start when you start, the first one.
All right. So, example 7. It says I'm doing 25 draws and I want exactly 21s. So this one should start 25C20. Okay, in the first set of parentheses, I want the probability of getting a 1. Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total things going on. So 2 out of 8 is my probability of getting a 1. There are 2 1s out of a total of 8 numbers, which means I have 6 out of 8 that are not 1s.
And then 20.
I want 20 of them which means 5 of them need to be not.
Wow.
How'd we do with that one?
I literally, just the way it's worded, it's hard. But then when you did it like that, I was like,
I know, I feel like I'm
so
stupid.
yeah, I was like,
I feel like I was
so
stupid.
easy.
I was like, I could have done that.
Okay, so 16C8 is how this one should have started. I'm doing 16 draws, and I want 8 of them to be exact. This time I want a 3. Well, I've got 3 threes out of 8, which means I have 5 that are not. I want 8 of them to be 3s, which means the other 8 need to be not 3s.
Wow.
Okay, the last one. I have 15 draws, and I want 5 of them to be exact. This time I'm looking for a 5, so I've got 1 out of 8, and then 7 out of 8, because there are 7 numbers that are not. I want 5 of them, which means the other remaining 10 need to be not.
Okay. Yeah.
Ooh.
Can you go and see how I did 8 to 8? I don't even know if it's right. I'll get confused.
Where did 2 5ths come from?
Because of you did. I don't know. See, I was confused on that one.
Okay, so with this one, it says Bryce has a 0.3 batting average, which means the probability of him hitting the ball is 0.3, which means the probability of him not hitting the ball then is what?
Out of what? 100? 500?
Whoa. Probability has to equal 1. No.
I'm just spouting out numbers.
I need the 2 averages to equal 1. So if he has a 0.3 chance of making it,
0.70. Oh.
he has a 0.7 chance of missing it.
That's why I got the 100 from, because I couldn't do it.
Okay, so instead of this one being a fraction, these ones are just going to be decimals. So you've got a 0.3 chance of making it and a 0.7 chance of missing it. Okay, the 5 comes into he's taking 5 swings every night. So the 5 goes in front of the C. So 5C, and I want 2 hits. So 5C2. So then I need the probability of him hitting it and then the probability of him losing or not hitting it. So 0.300 and 0.700.
That was easy.
And then it goes 2. He wants to hit it twice, which means he needs to miss it 3 times. So they don't give you everything. You have to think about it.
I blame whoever worded this.
Okay? All that's changing here is the fact that I want to hit it 4 times instead of 2. So 5C4. I still have a 0.3. I'm just going to shorten it to 0.3 because those zeros don't mean anything. So 0.3 hit, 0.7 miss. Now I want to make it 4 times, which means I need to not hit it once. Okay. Be careful with the last one. At least 3 hits, which means what? 3 or more. So we have to take into consideration, we're going to do it 3 times, which means I hit it 3 and I miss it 2, or 4 times. I hit it 4 and I miss it 1, or 5 times. I hit it 5 and miss it none. So that word at least or at most will catch people. You have got to be careful and make sure you read. If it only talks about one specific thing, that's all you need to do. But if it says at least, you have to take into every consideration what can happen. If it says at most, you have to take into every consideration what will happen. These types of problems are all over your release test.
Well, right. I think I have muscle deterioration in my arm for some reason. Serious problem.
It's a serious problem.
Yeah. Like, I can't hold anything like this for a second in my life. Because it starts hurting my back.
Okay, example number 9 is the same, so we're going to skip on to that and move on to odds.
Yes.
So find 15.6 odds. Best part is you already know how to do odds. Okay. And when you see how easy odds are, you're going to be like, really, Miss Smith? You kidding, right? Yeah? No, I'm not. Okay. So odds are not probability. It is a comparison of the number of ways that an event can occur and an event cannot occur. Okay? So if they're saying odds of, that means your winning is on the left and your losing is on the right. You need to pay attention to the order, whether they say odds of or odds against. If they're talking odds against, that means they're putting your losing number first and your winning number second. Okay. So odds against, we'll switch it. And of course, you know, I always got examples. Lots of fun. Yes. Yes.
I don't understand.
Okay. So, example 1 says, suppose you're playing a game in which you roll a pair of honest dice. If you roll a total of 7 or 11, you win. How many ways can you lose and win a game? So if you're rolling a pair of die, that means you've got 6 options on one die and 6 options on another. So we have 36 total. 36 total ways that I can roll 2 die. Okay, I'm going to tell you, you can win 8 times. There's 8 ways you can win. There's 6 ways to get a 7 and 2 ways to get an 11. Okay, because your 7 can come from 1 and 6, or 6 and 1, 2 and 5, or 5 and 2, 4 and 3, or 3 and 4. Your 11 can come from 6 and 5, or 5 and 6. So those are your total 8 ways to win. If there are 8 ways to win, how many ways are there to lose?
Out of 11? 3, 4.
How many total ways do I have?
28 ways to lose.
There are 28 ways to lose. If there are 36 and 8 of those 36 are winning, that means 28 of those are losing. So if they're asking odds in favor of, you would put 8 to 28, which would technically reduce to 4 out of 14, which technically reduces to 2 out of 7. Okay, so you would technically want to use 2 out of 7. If they want you to write odds against, all you do is put the 7 first and the 2 second. And that's your odds against. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
She says,
I thought
"Oh,
I
thank
never heard
God."
the end of it.
All right.
I'm ready to review.
I have a question.
Yes.
We having a project for this?
No, she said we're done.
Let her do it once that she asked.
She
Right.
said no.
I
no.
think I think Kimberly needs a project.
She really said no pressure.
Thank you.
Okay, we established this already. I don't pay attention. Just let me let me just
You
ask.
should have gave her a project.
Okay. If it says that Steve Nash will make 90 shots and miss 10, what would you write for odds of? What number would go first? Odds of. Remember, odds of means winning, then losing.
90 out of 10.
So 90 to 10, which would reduce to what? 9 to 1. So for every 9 shots he makes, he will miss 1. If I then need to reverse that to odds against, 1 to 9. Okay, so you've got to be careful of the wordings, because if it says odds against and you give me 9 to 1, your answer's wrong. Okay. Shaquille O'Neal shoots free throws with a probability of 0.52. For every 100 free throws, Shaq will make 52 and he will miss 48. So what does his odds of look like?
52.
52 to 48. What does that reduce to?
26 out of 13 and 12.
13 out of 12. Okay, you can put this into your calculator as 52 over 48. Get a decimal, and then make sure you hit math, choice number 1, fraction, and it will give you a reduced fraction. And then you just write it as odds, so 13 to 12. So that means when I go to odds against, 12
12 out of 13.
to 13.
If we don't reduce it on the test, we won't mark it off.
If I don't what?
If we don't reduce it.
Yes. If it is not reduced on your test, you will lose points. Not all points, but you will lose points for not reducing. Okay.
I thought you were throwing something bigger.
Okay. So this is it. This is the end of it. So
Oh, my chest.
before I actually do this, I need to turn all of these decimals into fractions. So again, you've got your calculator. You can do it yourself on your calculator. All you have to do is put in the decimal, hit math, change it to a fraction. Okay? So I'm going to do it the long way because I can. So 8 is in the hundredths position. It's 2 after the decimal. So as a fraction, this is 8 out of 100, which is then 4 out of 50, which is then 2 out of 25. Okay, so if you put it into the calculator, your probability is 2 out of 25. So that means the odds for are 2 to what? Not 25.
23.
23. This is the total. This is your win. So then the difference is your lose. So that's 2 out of 23, and odds against would be 23 out of 2. If we do Ivan, again, it goes out 2 spaces. So this is 16 out of 100, which is 8 out of 50, which is 4 out of 25. So 4 to 21 and 21 to 4. Layton, Layton is 20 over 100, which is 2 out of 10, which is 1 out of 5.
1, 4,
So 1 to 4, 4 to 1. Roger is 0.25. So that's 25 out of 100, which is 1/4. So 1 to 3, 3 to 1.
I have a question.
Yes.
Why is the 21 over 24? I mean, it says 4 over 25. And why did you put 4?
Because that's 25 total ways. He's doing it 25 times. 4 times he's going to win, which means 21 times he's going to lose.
Sorry.
Okay. No, you're fine. So the probability, when you're given probability, the bottom number is your total. So then when I give you the top, you have to figure out you're losing. Okay. So just be careful of that. Serena starts 15 out of 100, which drops down to 3 out of 20. So good. Tanya says 317 and 17.3. Serena starts off 16 out of 100, which is 8 out of 50, which is 4 out of 25. So 4 to 21 and 21 to 4. Okay, so now you've learned how to take a probability and come up with odds. The last thing we need to talk about is if I give you the odds, can you come up with that fraction? So now we're going from this to this. Okay, so when I do this, the first thing I have to figure out is the total. So if the odds of are 7 to 8, how many total times have we done this event? What'd you say? 15. My bottom number is 15. I won 7 times. I lost 8 times. This is odds of, and we want to find the probability that the event is going to happen. So which one of those numbers are going to go on top?
7.
7.
Wait.
We're trying to find the probability of winning. So I want the wins instead of the losses. So according to odds of, that means 7 wins, 8 losses, which is a total of 15. Okay. And then you have to pick the 7 because we want the winning, which is always on the left with odds of. So part B, what's my total? 17. What number goes on top? 2. We're talking odds of. So it's 2 out of 7. Part C.
Maybe 20 over 13.
Yeah. 7. We're talking odds against, which means my winning is my second number.
So for these, we'll only put the total on our exam, like, you don't know how to calculate, or you don't want totals at all, you just want like the actual fraction.
I want the actual fraction. Okay. D. What goes on bottom? 10. What goes on top?
3.
3. Good. This is against, so I need the second number. E. What goes on the bottom?
20.
What goes on top?
9.
9. Awesome. Okay. F. What goes on the bottom?
2.
What goes on top?
1.
Okay. What if I give you something like G, where it says the odds of E are the same as the odds against E?
It would be
Would it be the same thing as
1 over 2.
It would be the same thing as F. If the odds are the same for one event and the other event, They're both 1/2. They're both equal.
Yay, we're done.
Yay, we're done.
Wow.